I will go ahead and get started. That way we can make sure we respect everybody's time. So hello and welcome to the April General Meeting. Again, if you have not done so, please make sure that you sign into the chat with your name and agency so we can make sure we track attendance. Also, if you're able to, we would love for you to turn your cameras off so we can see all of your wonderful faces today. And as always, please make sure that you are muted if you are not speaking. So I'm just going to hop right in, but before we get started, I just kind of wanted to introduce to you all Jenny Finley. She is the new training coordinator here at TCHC, and she will be taking over general meeting for me later this year. She'll also be taking over some of the regular trainings that I've been doing, so you guys are going to see a lot more of her. So I'm actually going to let Jenny take it over from here. All right, Jenny.
Okay. Hi, everybody. How are you doing? It's good to be here today. For today's general meeting, we just want to provide you with a few resources specifically for cancer care services, dental services, and provide you some information about the Youth Drop-In Center that is run by Unbound. And we're also going to have someone from the ID Restoration Project. The hope for today is that we would get some good information, not only from the speakers, but from you all as well. Remember, we want general meeting to be a time of networking and resource sharing. So if you know of any other agencies that you have worked with or currently work with that provide these services, please put them in the chat and share them with everybody. We are our own best resources and we can all learn a great deal from each other. So we're going to start off today with Precious Harris, who represents Cancer Care Services. They offer a good chunk of services to cancer patients and survivors, financial assistance for supportive items such as medical supplies and equipment, supportive medications, transportation, health insurance premiums, nutritional supplements, and other services. There are some eligibility requirements, and Precious will go over those with you. So, Precious, let's let you go.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Precious Harris, and I am with Cancer Care Services. I'm the community health worker and community outreach coordinator. And I am going to see if Jenny, I need to share my screen because I have a short presentation that I'm going to just go over with you guys so you get to know more about what Cancer Care Services does and the resources that we offer. So I'm going to pull up my slides here.
Okay. Yeah, you can share your screen, Precious.
Okay. Let me pull it up. And sorry. Oops, I'll try again. All right. All right. Can everyone see my screen? Oops. Okay. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay. I think for some reason I keep hitting the video. No, what's good? I don't know what happened. Let me try again. Okay. So at Cancer Care Services, we Cancer Care Services, we have, I'm sorry, I'm having issues with this slide this morning. I'm not sure why it's skipping. I'm gonna go back to the beginning. I am so sorry. I had it all set and it is not behaving. Oh, this is crazy.
Precious, are you able to speak without sharing the slide perhaps, and then send us the slide so we can send it to everybody at a later time?
pull up. All right, so there you go. So Cancer Care Services, we provide care for the caregivers, empower survivors, and supports cancer patients as well. And what we do, we have programs. We have three pillars, three programs that we offer. We offer the COPE, Connect, and Thrive programs. In the COPE program, what we do, we offer financial services, nutritional supplements. We help with transportation, getting to and from your doctor's appointments and treatment and therapy, if there's any. We assist with dental. We assist with insurance premiums. Your insurance premiums is paid for 6 months, up to 6 months, and then you reevaluate it after 6 months to see if you still qualify. But we will handle the insurance premiums. Prescription assistance, we send a fair amount of money to your to the pharmacy of choice every month to help with cancer treatment, drugs, prescription medicine. We have navigation, case management, and then in our Connect program, we have the social and spiritual support that we offer. We also offer physical, emotional support to the patient, whether you're in active treatment, whether you're a caregiver, or whether you are a survivor of. We offer just about everything to everyone. It's just that for those that are currently in treatment, is a lot more than those that are in the survivorship program. And so those are some of the things that we offer. We have counselors on staff. We provide counseling and we support the caregivers of all ages, no matter how young or how old you are. Social connection is what I talked about with the Connect program. Throughout the year, we host connection events to help our clients enrich the cycle of support. It includes weekly support groups, family nights, nutrition classes, and social events that are held virtually as well for now. Our outreach team, there are 2 outreach coordinators and community health worker, myself, Precious, and Carlene. And our contact information, if you have referrals, you can contact me at Precious at cancercareservices.org, and my phone number is 325-704-0065. I'm sorry, I'm trying to. And so we kind of look at the disparities in the community when it comes to cancer, because cancer, as I like to say, is a respect of no man. Is the disparities are adverse differences in the cancer measurements in one group relative to another group. Incidents, new cases, Hispanic, Latino, and Black, African American women have higher rates of cervical cancer than women of other racial and ethnic groups. Mortality, Blacks, African Americans have higher death rates than all other racial ethnic groups for many, although not all cancer types will lead to death, but the rate is very high. And other disparities include stage at diagnosis, screening rates, how long people survive after a diagnosis, and it all depends on the type of cancer. So a little bit of statistic is, 127,000 plus people will be diagnosed with cancer in Texas this year. And about 9,500 of our neighbors will be diagnosed with cancer in Tarrant County this year. And low income and lack of health insurance are 2 risk factors that can actually really impact the life of a cancer patient. And they don't have, the education, the insurance, the knowledge, the money to pay for screening and diagnostic screening, mammograms, or any kind of screening, or just to see the doctor if they're having any kind of problems and they need to be diagnosed. And at some point, when they do get to the doctor, they're most likely to be diagnosed at a later stage. And what Cancer Care does is if someone is, we help with we try to take some of that stress off of you, the financial burden. We help with utilities. We help with everything. Basically, if we can do it, we have partners that will help us find the means, the resources for you. So a little bit more statistics here. 79% of the Black clients that report the income of low of very low income. We try to target those outreach areas. We try to target Hispanics. We try to target, like I'm here today, the homeless. We try to target just basically the community. Try to hit the community and let them know, get out there and let them know, hey, we're here. We're here because cancer is killing a lot of people, and people don't realize that there are resources, free resources. They don't always have to take money out of their pocket and pay for these resources. We are here for them, and we'll meet them at the point of their need. So Cancer Care Services basically covers, we share the burden with the patient, with the caregiver, with the survivor as well. The nutritional supplements that I think I mentioned, I did not mention nutritional supplements, but we do have nutritional support as well. For those that are diagnosed with esophageal cancer, we have nutritional supplements like Boost and Show and other kind of supplements that we can give them free of charge. For those that are able to eat regular meals, we partner with another nonprofit organization that strictly provides and cooks or food or prepares the meals for those that are facing life-threatening illnesses. And that's Cuisine for Healing. And so the meals are delivered free for 3 months at a time. And if there's an address in Tarrant County, we would deliver the meals to you free, as long as you're currently in treatment. Now for transportation, I would say this real quick. For transportation, and I know I'm speaking on this platform, but to address the transportation for those that do not have, and those that do not have an address, or like the homeless, we do have a limited amount of funding for emergency funds that could be used for lodging if the client is eligible for Cancer Care Services, financial services. So if they don't have a place to stay and they're diagnosed with cancer and they have to have chemotherapy or radiation or some kind of treatment, we will cover that on a limited basis with our emergency funds. And once the client is on our financial services, is on Cancer Care Services, financial services, that social worker that's assigned to the client would have to apply for the social worker will apply for the emergency funding for that client. And, the assistance is not always guaranteed, but we've helped a lot in the past, try to get treatment done. And the transportation, we have tickets, access tickets, what that were formerly MITs or Lyft. If the client is homeless but has a car, they can receive gas cards. If they're homeless but they do not have a vehicle, they can receive access tickets or Lyft. And the staff or the social worker that's assigned to that client will need an address that they can be picked up from on a daily basis, whether it's a shelter or just meeting at an office, and they're picked up from there. They would be picked up from there and get be taken to treatment or medical appointments as need be. And so basically that's, as I said, and now, our vision is that everyone in Tarrant County that is impacted by cancer will partner with us, to bring the services to the cancer community. That's very much is needed out there, and it's all free. There's no money. We are not government funded. We're privately funded donors, and private and individuals donate funds to help the cancer community. So, and I think that's it for me.
Precious, there is a question in the chat. Someone is asking, can the meals be delivered to them from to the shelter for them?
Yes, we have delivered to Presbyterian shelter before. Actually, I went on that trip to deliver. So yes, the meals can be delivered to a shelter. Once there's an address that's within Tarrant County, the meals can be delivered to that address for that individual. So yes.
Okay, Precious. So specifically, who does somebody need to contact if they're interested in the services that you offer?
You can contact me at my email, precious@cancercareservices.org, or my phone number at 325-704-0065. And then I will start the ball rolling. Now, if you were to call Jenny or someone from your agency calls and wants to refer an individual that's been diagnosed with cancer, or even someone who's a caregiver or a survivor and they want to be a part of our survivorship program, yes, you call me and I will get them connected to one of our social workers.
Okay, so we need to move on because we have a really full program today. So if anybody has any other questions for Precious or about the cancer care services, please put them in the chat and we will deal with those as we can. Precious can respond to them, or we can get her the questions and we can get those answers to y'all, okay? Thank you so much, Precious. We appreciate the information. Next, we're moving on to dental services through Cornerstone Dental and Janet Cerna. Janet, are you on? I haven't seen you, but are you there, Janet? Did you see her? Okay. Well, if Janet's not here, we'll go ahead and go to the Unbound Youth Drop-In Center and Chris Cage. And if we find Janet, or maybe she's logging on later or something, we'll pick her up in a second. Chris, are you ready to go?
I'm ready to go, and thank you very much for having me. I have to say that I love the name Precious. What a great name. So I'm the director of Unbound's Underground, the name of a drop-in center. It's open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, and that included the Snowmageddon. We stayed open every day, and we served some youth during that period. And the youth we serve, our parameters are 22 and under, technically down to 10 years old. We just opened fairly recently, October 31st, so we're still learning, and I suspect always will be. As a drop-in center, we limit the stays to 24 hours, but youth are able to come more than once, so they could stay, and if they need help later, they can come back and we can help them again. We're, as the name says, a drop-in center, so there's no bed reservation required. You could literally just, as a youth, just show up. But if you're an organization sending somebody to us, you could do the same. You could just send them and they could show up. But it's helpful to know who's on the way, and that we can better prepare for them if you can give them a heads up, and we can actually make the process easier for the youth if we know they're coming. Our Unbound's mission, you may know, is to support survivors of trafficking, but we don't require any kind of outcry or statement that they're being trafficked. It's the only requirement is that they're 22 and under and need a place to stay. The only thing beyond that is that they would need to be safe to themselves and other people. And if we deem they weren't safe, then we would help them get safe. We wouldn't just send them back out, but that place of, in that case, would be somewhere other than us. We do, in talking about safety, we do have an intake process that includes wanding. And again, we would look for things that you would expect, any weapon or drugs. And we also look at anything that they're going to bring into the center, like if they have clothes or belongings they want to bring in, that we would go through that to make sure there's nothing that's dangerous. If they have belongings they don't want us to look at, we have lockers that they can put them in, and we lock them up, and when they leave they can take them, and we never go through their stuff. We will collect prescriptions from them, which is fairly common that they have prescriptions, and we just lock those and then talk to them about when they need them, and they tell us, you know, we know their schedule for when they need them, and they come to us and say, okay, now it's time, and that has worked well. We have intake process in terms of questions we need to ask. We try not to make it too much, too heavy for them, that we have a basic intake process that's in a name and age and last address and your contact numbers and things like that. But then we get into a heavier set of questions that has to do with their victimization, and that's, we explain, for the purpose of being able to get them to be able to help them best and to get them to another safe place. Our philosophy of care and approach is to be trauma informed and to meet youth where they are, and we accept all and know that they're all on different paths, and we just try to love them as they are and care for them as they are. We have the staff does go through a lot of training that I think helps round this out. Just a couple examples of TBRI and motivational interviewing and trauma-informed care. And you know, a lot of you probably know the types of things, and we try to stay current on new issues as well. So we have two objectives, at least the way I look at it is two broad objectives are to meet their immediate needs, their basic felt needs like food and clothing and sleep and taking a shower. And so we have facilities for all that. We can provide hot food, meals, snacks. The menu tends to be youth friendly, very much directed by what they say they like, and then that's what we order going forward. Takis are very popular. Pizza is very popular. But we also are aware of the need for hydration, for example, and we have water and Gatorade and offer that often, and we do try to have some healthy options too, and ask about allergies and have some, for example, non-peanut, non-gluten options available too. We have showers, washer, dryer, cots to rest in, and we have a good inventory of clothes of different sizes, and we have a big closet that we refer to as the shopping area, and ask them if they want to go shopping, and they can pick out a set of clothes, and that's always a fun time. The second big objective is to get them to the next place, and we try to tell them early on, okay, this is 24 hours, so what do you want to accomplish here, and how can we help you accomplish that? And the best way you can help us is to, tell us your story so we can find the right place for you. And so we have a good set of resources, it's an Excel spreadsheet with tons of resources that are the full spectrum of shelters and domestic violence centers and homes for those who've been trafficked, and also those who have foster care experience. And of course, so we take into the account whether they're a minor or not. And so listing those, we have, I think, a good healthy list, and always looking for new placements. So if any of you are interested in connecting on that, I would love to do so. And the staff has gotten really good at connecting youth to these resources. It's a lot to do in 24 hours, and it turns out can be very hard work for the youth to come in and make those calls. And we coach them with that, and we tell them to expect that there's going to be a list of no's, and it's not personal to you. It's just it's either not the right fit or they don't have capacity, and it's not about you. So we're going to do this together, and the team's gotten really good at that. I will say that we have seen, and I've observed that the youth leave in a better state of mind than they come in. We do surveys of every single one. We don't make them take the survey, but we offer it to every single one. And I'm really happy with the feedback we've gotten. It's all very, very positive. In regard to their emotional care and their state of mind, I think that the thing that we're known for more than anything is our dog, Wilbur. Emotional and support dog is a mini golden doodle. And if you see any brochures for the underground, you'll probably see, well, you will see Wilbur's face on the cover and not mine. And we have ads on the buses that say, do you need a safe place? And there's a big old picture of Wilbur. And he has done a great job in connecting with youth and making them feel comfortable. And that was a great idea to have him. We're also offering painting and coloring and games and books and journals and fidgets and everything that we can think of to help connect, to help them relax, and to just to reach that state of change. A lot of books by survivors, and we also have television. And television is limited to Disney and a select few PlayStation games, and we don't allow the television to be the focus of their entire stay. It's sort of more of a reward for having worked a long time on placement. But what we see with Disney is we don't get a lot of pushback on that. I think it's most the youth are kind of happy to be able to be a kid and go back to watching the shows that they watched when they were way younger. And it's a really good time, safe memories, good memories for them. And I had a youth tell me that yesterday. Does that remind me of home when I was young? We do allow them to, I'm going to go back. We also offer counseling services, 4 hours a week. We can schedule them for counseling, and that can be not just during their stay with us, but they can schedule them after they leave. And that's been virtual for so far, but it's about to change to in person with everybody getting their shots now. We have the staff of, like I said, 24 hours. We also have a guard at all times. So we're always under camera, always have a guard. We do allow youth to bring in phones. The cell service here is terrible, and we don't share Wi-Fi, but they can bring in their phone, and to a lot of youth, that's comforting to have that. We do collect them at midnight so that they can sleep, and we have a wake-up time. Instead, we don't let them sleep till 2 in the afternoon. The latest they can sleep is 9, and that's so we can get going on placement. That if you're going to get a placement, it's going to have to start early in the morning. Our youth come to us through a variety of different ways. We're a safe place site. That's one. I mentioned the bus ads, but we've connected with a lot of partner organization like Boys and Girls Clubs and Fort Worth ISD and other advocate organizations like Traffic 911 and of course the Unbound advocates. So and law enforcement and CPS have brought youth here too. I have, if any of you are interested, I have cards that are designed to hand out to youth just so they can have it. If they ever need a place to stay, they can have that card and know that they can go here and there's no reason for them to ever be sleeping on the street. Our, and I can put this in the chat if you want, our hotline, 24/7 hotline is 817-885-7735. And I can also put my email in there. Well, I'll just say, I'll do that. I'll put both of those in there, and that covers it. And if there's time for any questions, I can do that. Well, one thing I wanted to mention, we can also, if a youth can't get here, if they're in Tarrant County, we can send an Uber to pick them up.
Okay, Chris, there are a couple questions. So The first one is, can young mothers and their children go as well?
Yes, they can. And we have had that happen. And we do have some clothes, baby clothes, and some formula and things like that. But probably we would try to, that would be like a high priority, get them to a better place. But yes, they can. A mom the mom would need to be 22 or under.
And you may have addressed this already, but is there a referral process for agencies, and is there a number that they need to call to give a heads up?
So I'll put that in the chat. It's the 817-885-7735. And there's no reservation of a bed. It's just, are they 22 or under, and they need a place to stay. And it's just, as somebody that needs the hospital, hospital care, that's not us. But otherwise, you can send them. And it's helpful to get a call so we can prepare for them. We can know their name in advance. We can put cookies in the oven and it'll smell nice, and make the intake process easier. If anyone of you want to come to have some cookies, let me know. Welcome.
An additional question, is there a limit as to how many youth can enter?
We have capacity for 10. And that would be highly, highly unusual for us to have 10. In that case, we'd need several staff. Our ratio is 1 to 4 youth. What we tend to run is 1 to 3. The highest we've had is 5. 5 youth in here is a lot, and but we could do it, like in a sting situation, for example, that we would step up and handle it. But I don't think we're going to be having 60 a week or anything like that. That's not our model.
Okay, are there any other questions for Chris? There's one other in the chat, Chris, and I think you addressed this, but how long can someone stay at the underground?
Because we're a drop-in center, we have to limit it to 24 hours. Otherwise, we get categorized as a residential facility. So we really try to honor that, and we tell the youth up front, this is 24 hours. But like I said, that if they, as y'all know, that they go someplace and it doesn't work out, it doesn't mean they can never come back. They are allowed to come back, and then we'll just help them again.
Okay. And Stephanie's also asking for the address, but that's already been posted in the chat, Stephanie. So if you'll scroll back up a little bit, it's in there. Any other questions for Chris before we move on? All right, Chris, thank you so much. You shared a lot more information than we were aware of, and so we really appreciate that, and hopefully that that has helped some other people. If you have more questions for Chris, please just post them in the chat, but we're going to go ahead and move on.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. I've noticed that several people have logged in during Chris's presentation, and that's fine, but please be sure you sign in the chat so we have a record of your attendance. Janet had a little delay, but she is now with us. So we'll go ahead and go to the dental services from Cornerstone. And Janet, if you're ready, let's go ahead and take it away.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, we can.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Awesome. Sorry for the delay this morning. My name is Janet Cerna, and I'm with Cornerstone Assistance Network Dental Clinic. We opened in June of last year, and we are doing really well. We see patients, we do dentures, partials, bridges, cleanings, fillings, extractions, basically full service dentistry, everything except cosmetic, oral surgery, and orthodontics. We do have an orthodontics that we work with that's volunteering his time. For our program, we do require an application to be filled out. And they would need to submit proof of income for the household, proof of Tarrant County residence, and proof of ID. And then once we review that information, our program is very generous. We require that they fall below 250% of the poverty level. So we really don't turn anybody away. We've been able to serve everybody that apply, really. But they do have to be Tarrant County resident, and they cannot have any other insurance. I see a lot of questions coming through. We do accept undocumented patients as long as they have a green card or some type of photo ID. Then we are seeing those patients as well. Somebody else asked if there's a link with the application. I can give you my email address. The general email box is dentalclinic@canetwork.org. If you'll send me an email and I can send you an application. We don't currently have those online. And most of the patients we see are age 9 and above, really nothing below. Most of those patients are served by Medicaid, unless they are undocumented. Then we have seen a couple little kiddos that are about nine and above. I'm trying to answer the. Unfortunately, diagnosis, we are scheduling about a month out. So if somebody needs emergency dental, we don't have that service at this time. There's a question if we accept the TCHC scan card. Yes, we do, as long as it has their picture on there, and I do believe that they have them on there. That pretty much sums up our program. We're here to serve the low income and the underserved, but again, they must be Tarrant County resident and have no other insurance. A lot of the patients that are on JPS Connection, they would probably be better served with the all comprehensive care at True Worth Clinic. But I understand that, you know, some of the patients may need root canals and crowns and bridges, and JPS doesn't provide that, and we do. So we do have some of those patients here as well. And again, if you have any questions, you can email me at the email address I gave. My direct line I can give as well. It's 817-632-6018. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me and I can assist you.
All right, thank you, Janet. That was a lot of information, and I appreciate you addressing the questions that were coming up in the chat. We were trying to follow along as well, so we can make sure that those got answered. So you provide just kind of basic dental services, but you also mentioned some higher end things like root canals and things like that if they can't get them someplace else, correct?
Yes, ma'am, that is correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And you accept only people without insurance. So if somebody is insured, they need to go through their dental insurance, correct?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. And you said that right now you're scheduling stuff a month out. Is that about the normal wait time, or is there something going on right now that makes it that long?
I'm sorry, you were cutting off. What was the question?
About the wait time, you said right now it's about 30 days out. Is that normal, or is there something going on that's causing it to be that long right now?
Well, because of COVID, we have restrictions on how we see patients.
Okay.
And because we generalize a lot of aerosol, So we have to limit our procedures. So we are booked about a month out right now. And of
Okay.
course, the extra precautions that we have to take.
Oops.
Mhm.
And you cut out.
Somebody's asking for the phone number again. Yeah, I was
We
cutting
post-
out.
Yeah, it's in the chat.
Somebody
So,
was asking for the phone number again.
yeah,
Okay.
we've got it in the chat, so you can scroll up
somebody
and get that.
Okay.
Yes,
And
somebody's
somebody's
asking about
if,
submitting applications as referrals. And you,
if they're undocumented and if they,
you're cutting out. I don't know what's going on.
but the patient would still need to.
Okay.
Is
We're
that
having
better?
some technical difficulties with Janet, but that's okay. If y'all have any other questions for her, if you'll put them in the chat or email them to her, you can either get direct answers or we will try to get the answers and make sure that everybody has that information. Or you can stay on after the meeting ends and we can get that information to you then and answer questions for you. Okay. So next we have Brittany Moore with ID Restoration Clinic through Legal Aid. Brittany, are you ready to go?
Yeah.
Okay, take it away.
All right. Thank you, Jenny. Let me get to my PowerPoint. So my name is Brittany Moore. I am a staff attorney at Legal Aid in Northwest Texas. I know probably all of you guys have worked with us one way or another. And I know Melissa Wilkes has probably been in touch with some of you guys as well. But I really wanted to kind of beef up my outreach for Tarrant County for a new area of service that we're providing that I don't think a lot of people are aware of. And it is ID and driver's license restoration. So basically in the past, we have always done just ODLs, never tickets. And it's not that we're advertising, we do tickets, but the gist is we can help now. And that's a very big service area. More than 50% of the legal needs of the homeless population centers around ID restoration and driver's license restoration. And the reason why I lump those two together is because although a suspension on your license doesn't mean you can't have an ID and it doesn't invalidate an ID, one, it prevents you from renewing it, right? Or if they lose it, they can't go get another one for fear of arrest if their driver's license number has an outstanding warrant, right? People are, for those warrants, when they're at risk of arrest, they could be taken away from their families. Without an ID, they can't get access to some of your services. They can't get benefits. They can't get a lot of things. And so for the populations we all serve, homeless and indigent, we definitely want to make sure that all of you know that this is something we can absolutely help with. The reason I say ID restoration is because it's not just driver's license. Other things that we can help with is birth certificate amendments. So there are a lot of people, or you may have clients that have come to you and said, well, I've been going by this name my whole life, but that's actually not the name on my birth certificate, right? So if it's similar, we can do that birth certificate amendment or help them with it. Declarations of they have no identification at all. They just need a piece of paper that says this is who they are, so they can go get an ID or driver's license. Name changes, again, they've been going by this their whole life, or they've been divorced for years and never went back to their maiden name. Especially with the homeless population, I find that a lot where, their names are different on every document they have, right? Their passport is one thing, their ID is one thing, their birth certificate is another, right? We can make sure that all of those records are consolidated and that they have proper identification in order to be able to access benefits, housing, homeless services, anything that they need. Replacement documents for immigration. So you guys probably already know we don't do immigration cases in our office, but we'll do some stuff. There's like little touches that we have here and there. One of them is replacement documents. So if someone says, you know, they are of legal status, they just don't have it with them, their naturalization documents or whatever the case may be, we can help order that to make sure they have that legal paperwork with them. Should anything ever happen, they're just prepared, right? We want to make sure, especially after during the last administration, I stressed like having that documentation on you to make sure that you weren't put in one of those facilities. DD 214s, helping people get that. If you're not familiar with what that is, it's basically a vet ID that everybody in the service gets. And it's, again, it's just another form of identification. It also allows them to get access to VA services. And then, as I mentioned, ID and driver's license. So whatever we got to do to clear someone's driver's license so they can get a driver's license, we're absolutely going to. And so that's kind of what I wanted to spend most of my time talking about. So it's tickets. And the reason we can help is because in the past, and even now, we don't do criminal cases, right? We aren't a criminal defense firm. We are legal aid. We provide civil legal services. But the purpose of legal aid is to provide gaps in services, right? To fill in the gaps for needs that the community has, that like in criminal cases, they automatically get counsel through the county, right? They'll pay for a public defender or court-appointed counsel. When it comes to Class C misdemeanors, that is tickets, they don't have that right. So you have to hire an attorney, or you just show up yourself and hope you know what to say, because you can't afford to hire an attorney. Or most of our clients won't show up at all because they know they don't know what to say and they don't have the money to hire an attorney. And so that's why we can fill that gap. That's why now legal aid absolutely can and has gotten the funding through my project specifically to fill that gap and say, people need this help. There are tens of thousands of Texans without valid driver's licenses and IDs. They can't get housing, they can't get jobs, they can't tell an employer, yes, I have a valid driver's license, you can give me this job. And so for those reasons, we have to meet this need. So let's start doing it. And they're supposed to be fine-only offenses, right? So that's the other reason why we can absolutely provide this service, and we're going to. One of the biggest things that I need people to know, though, is the reason why it's different than what people think when they fight tickets is because we don't do, our style of representation is in no way similar to what private attorneys do. So private attorney, they're going and they're fighting tooth and nail to tell the court they didn't run that red light, or that was a unjust stop, or they weren't there, that camera, that wasn't an assault, whatever the case may be. I don't even care about the facts. I really don't even care what the ticket was for. All I care about is that my client can't pay. And these are the resources they have and that they don't have. And so I asked the court to just help me find a way for them to dispose of this that doesn't involve them paying money they don't have. Because that money they don't have is going to keep that ticket on their record for the rest of their lives. They will never be able to get a license, and they're just going to it's just going to accumulate, right? They get that first $300 ticket, and we all know this, for our clients, that's food, that is half of their rent, that is their electric bill and stuff for their kids. They're not paying that ticket, right? So they don't go to court. Then that ticket becomes a warrant, so it doubles, sometimes triples, and now we're looking at about $1,000. They couldn't pay the 300. They certainly can't pay that grand. And then it continues, right? 2 years later, they might be responsible drivers, someone who gets a ticket once every 2-3 years, right? But still, it's going to accumulate each time. And because they never were able to pay it, they're never able to stop that cycle. And it just kept racking up. And so by the time they come to us, I look at their record. This person hasn't had a valid license for 10 years, and they might owe a total of $12,000 worth of fines and fees to all these different courts. And those are the people we want to help. I want to say, let's get this cleared up, get you on the road legally so you can provide for yourself and your family. So we do still do occupational licenses, but my principle behind this is to say, I want to attack the underlying problem. In the past, when we just did occupationals, when people didn't have valid licenses, if you don't know what an occupational license is, it's a restricted driver's license specifically to drive on the road. And so the problem with that is they have an expiration date. They typically only last a year, maybe 2, if you can show why it needs to last for 2 years when you petition for it. But in only doing that, you're not addressing the underlying issue, right? Once that ODL expires, then what? Then they're back where they started. We didn't fix the underlying issue, which is that ticket. So my project is aimed at tackling those issues, clearing that up. And then if they have a hard suspension that we can do nothing about, then yes, I will absolutely still petition for an occupational, but then I can make sure the occupational lasts until they can get a regular license. And that way it's not like a Band-Aid. It's, yeah, we still have to get you the occupational, but we cleared everything else to where once that expires, you can actually go get a regular license. And so that's kind of the purpose behind my project, is making sure that we're not just putting a Band-Aid on things, but really attacking the legal issue of their barrier to their ID or driver's license. So a little bit of information about what an occupational license is. Like I said, it's for to drive to work, but not just that, which actually isn't common knowledge. If someone doesn't have a job, but is homeless, they can still petition for an occupational, right? Because it's that argument that I'll make to the court that's they want to get a job, but they can't. They've been looking for a job. Here's proof of the places they've applied to. It's even better if I can get them to get a letter from a potential employer that says, I would hire this guy if he had a valid license. I can take that to the court and say, hey, judge, can you grant this occupational for them? Other essential needs is if you're a caregiver to someone that's sick or elderly, you need a drive to get them to their appointments, to get yourself to appointments, to take care of somebody else. That's another essential need. The single mother with a few kids, another essential need. Even if she doesn't have a job, it is essential for her to drive to and from the grocery store, pick up her kids from school, and to be able to do so legally. So outside of strictly needing to drive for work, those are all other reasons that you actually can apply for an occupational license. Another type of occupational license is called an interlock. Also something that's common when someone gets a DWI, they can't drive. That's another hard suspension that DPS and the courts will put on someone. So if that's ever something that comes up, we'll help them get an interlock occupational. They cannot get an essential need one. It has to be an interlock one because we have to get permission from that judge. And that judge has to say, okay, I trust this person to get on the road legally and drive legally and not reoffend. And that's why that person can't get an essential need. It has to be an interlock, but we can help with that as well. Other than that, this is how people can apply for our services. Again, I'm sure you guys already know this. It's our regular LandWIT website, our legal aid line. The office in Tarrant County has their own specific hours for intake, which you can get off our website as well. For this specific project in these types of cases, I'm happy to do more direct intakes with you. I have a paralegal on my project who is just focused on outreach. She just started a couple weeks ago. So she may have reached out to some of you. If she hasn't, let me know and I'll get you connected with her. And I'm happy to set up a more direct intake at your facilities and in your agencies for these types of cases if you would like. We just want to make sure that everyone in Tarrant County knows that this is a service we provide, and go on and send your people down. We want to help them as much as we can. Like I said, this affects so many people and it's so basic. A driver's license or ID. Those of us who have it, we do take it for granted, but can you imagine what life would be like if you just didn't have that? And that's a lot of our clients. So send them on down. Here's my contact information, my phone and email. Again, you have any questions, feel free to contact me. And that's it.
All right, Brittany, thank you very much. Some very valuable information. Does anybody have any questions for Brittany or about anything that might pertain to what she was speaking about?
I do see one in the chat that says, do you provide services for residents of Parker County?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Anything else? Okay, well, we appreciate your time, Brittany, and your information.
Thank you.
I have one announcement from the Homeless Coalition. For those of you who have been working with the homeless population for a while, you're familiar with the Pocket Pals that we have printed that you can give to clients for resources. We have changed that. It's now basically a business card, and I'm putting the link in the, nope, I didn't put the link in there. I'll get the link and put it into the chat for you, but now it's basically a business card size that has the hotline on one side and a QR code on the other. So anybody with a smartphone can just scan that QR code. It will take you directly to the TCHC website and the services that are available. So case managers and clients alike can utilize this. And it's new. Case managers, if you need to get some to be able to hand out, contact TCHC and we'll set an appointment for you to be able to come to the office and pick some of those up so that you have them. But this is replacing the Pocket Pal, and I just want to make sure everybody was aware of that. Does anybody have any announcements that you would like to share or any program updates? Okay, I'm not seeing anything. So we will close. Who should we reach out to pick up the cards? Just email TCHC at homewithhope.org, and someone will respond to you and schedule a time for you to be able to come pick those up. And yes, the purpose of the pocket cards is one of the purposes, it will help us keep the resource list more current because we're not having to reprint those Pocket Pals all the time. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and let people go. If the speakers will stay on with us for just a few minutes in case anybody has any questions that they want to stay on after the meeting, we can try to answer those and you can answer those directly. For everybody else, thank you so much for joining us today, and we will see you next month.
And remember, you can always catch our recording. We will post it on YouTube. Precious?
Yes.
There was a question in the chat that I don't think we got to answer, but somebody was asking, do you guys provide services for dialysis?
Yes, we do now. There are options because if a patient is on dialysis and that patient has been diagnosed with cancer, yes. If that patient is a survivor and on dialysis and needs some assistance, yes. Now, if there's no cancer involved, we can help with nutrition. We can, get nutrition going for that person. So that's why I said there are options because if there's a diagnosis of any type of cancer, yes, we can help that patient with resources and services and whatever that's needed. But if there's no cancer involved, but just need some help, we can get some nutrition and try to guide them in the right direction to get help.
Thank you for that. Also, Ms. Janet, somebody was asking for a referral for dental needs. Is there a referral for dental needs for those that are not in Tarrant County?
Not that I'm aware of. Not for us.
Okay. And then Chris, it looks like Stephanie says that she has a question for you. Stephanie, would you like to ask that question to Chris?
I do, thank you. I typed it in, but it may not be clear. I'm asking this because I used to work for CPS, and I know a lot of people that probably come through your organization are probably afraid of foster care systems or what have you, but I wanted to see what the process is if you have young children that do come through to try to get them permanently housed. You guys work with some sort of system, like, is there a way to get them into permanent housing through a foster care system, or what does that look like in case, because I have had a client with a child who kept leaving, so I could, better encourage them to go someplace safe. Does that make sense?
Are you asking what we would do if a young child came in, like a 10-year-old?
Right, because you said, to the age of 10, I'm assuming people between 10 and 16 really would struggle to survive on their own because,
Yeah.
they need parents really.
That would be the issue with like a 16 or 17-year-old. If you tell them you're calling CPS, some of them will just take off right away. And
Exactly.
so you try to gain their confidence and then pick the right time to make that call. With a 10-year-old, we'd make it almost right away. I mean,
Okay. I just wasn't sure exactly what that would look like and how I could support a child if I ran into that again, because this happened a while ago. But if I did run into it again, I could encourage them to go to you guys.
definitely, we would take care of it, and we wouldn't. We couldn't restrain them on one hand, but I think we have enough here between food and a dog, and that they would want to stay, and that we would get somebody here quick,
Okay.
and they
Thank
would
you.
be in a safe place. Yep.
Okay. Thank you for that.
Welcome.
It hit me from experience. Thank you.
The youngest we've had is 13 so far.
All right, I do believe that is it, unless anybody has any other questions. I want to thank everybody who joined us, and